Fala galera, agora são 11 da manhã no domingo aqui em Ahmedabad, mais um dia de sol e poeira pra caramba. Eu tô indo pra casa da Kiran, que fica junto da escola, a uns 17 quilômetros de onde eu fico mais ou menos. Mas eu tô pegando aqui um auto rickshaw, que isso vai custar tipo uns 10 pila no máximo, porque é tudo muito barato. Então é meio turbulento, é meio devagar, demora uma meia hora pra chegar, uns 40 minutos. Mas vamos que vamos, eu vou mostrar pra vocês um pouco do que eu tô vendo aqui ao redor. E daqui a pouco eu tô chegando lá pra fazer essa entrevista, mostrar com a Kira. E eu acho que vai ser bem legal, tomara que vocês curtam e vamos dar. So I'll start by who is Kiran. To let everybody know who is Kiran Sethi.
Well, I think at the heart, Kiran Sethi is a mother, because I think that's at the core of everything that I have done. It's come from that place of being a mother. I think mothers are wonderful people. You know, mothers are fierce and proud and strong and weak, and So I think maybe as a woman and as a mother, that's been my strongest identity. And I think everything that has happened has been shaped from that space.
You went to design college?
Yes.
And then how did you end up opening a school?
I went to design college, had an amazing time. For the first time I realized what education can be. Because I remember when I walked into the design college and the professors had conversations with you, then you say, that's what education should feel like. Then I graduated, started my own design firm, got married, and then became a mama. And then when I put my son to school, and I realized, my God, how completely bleak that idea of my child's life was going to be. I said, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. What do you think that makes Riverside different from the other schools?
I think because it doesn't try to be different. I think what it attempts to do every day is make a difference. I think every day the team looks at the story of the child and says, how can this process, this behavior, this time, this space make a difference? So maybe that's really at the heart of Riverside.
I've shown you that pic from a school in Brazil.
Yes.
Little cubicles. Learning. I would die if I were I would have committed suicide when I was in school like this.
And in Brazil, schools' quality are usually measured by their performance on national exams. So schools create that war strategies like that one with the little cages.
Little cages.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
Yeah, but that's true for most parts of the world. I would not say this is just for Brazil. When you look at an evaluation system, and especially when you're talking about scale, look at the number of children, look at the number of people that I need to have some sort of some system to realize where does my child stand. I mean, that's really what the world has done to education. Measure or number that can tell me that this child has done better than this child. I don't know why that is such an important measure at all. Because of that, what has happened is scale has removed personalization. If you have 300 million children that go to school in India, how do you meet every child? How do you ensure that every child has its story? So it becomes so difficult to start that place because that takes time. That takes that child's passion and his story and the parent. So we say, I don't want to do it all that. That's just too much work. So I think in many ways, to remove the amount of time it takes to engage with another human being, the system has removed that. And it says, don't worry about the time. If they can pass this test and do this, I believe we have done it. And so we remove anything that takes away time from the goal. And the goal here happens to be, can I give you a grade? And can that grade start sorting you into buckets? And that bucket will determine which child goes to which college. And that system, unfortunately, will take a lot of courage to change. It'll take policies, and it'll take the government, and it'll take stamina. And we don't have stamina. Everything we want now.
One of the questions that people ask is from Fabi, and she asked, a lot of innovative initiatives on education are happening lately, but disruptive changes are still difficult. Why do you think so?
I keep saying because we don't have time. Because innovation as a piece, independent of testing, staying with it, prototyping, refining, has no value. Then what will happen is people will see, new ideas don't work. Because we will not give the time to test it and stay with it. So what happens is, we then will say, see, it's all been working now. What's the problem? We have results now. Our children have gone to the college now. So it's successful. So success is a very dangerous word. Because when you're successful, you don't want to change the formula. And unfortunately, people have been successful getting marks. The marks has allowed children to get into a college. Whether they're happy, whether it's purposeful, whether it's meaning, whether they're changing that space, we don't talk about that at all. Innovation happens only when you are dissatisfied with what exists. But if I'm not dissatisfied because I've been successful, I'm not going to innovate. And if I don't innovate, I cannot change the current scenario. And then we justify not innovation because we're successful. We say, everything's working, my school is full, I have all the results, parents want to come to my school.
And another question, how do you create an inclusive environment that respects the students' rhythm and style of learning?
I think the very fact when you say inclusive, it means that every child will bring their own piece to the puzzle. Then it doesn't matter how I learn. But is learning meaningful? Then suddenly everybody's included in that story. So I think we ask the wrong question. We say we must teach 10 ways. No, we don't have to. If learning is first meaningful and purposeful, I want to learn it. That's really how we have to shift it. But we don't ask the question. We say this has to be taught. Then we'll decide how you teach, you learn it.
My friend Luna, she asked, Riverside is a private school.
Yes.
How do you think a private school can act on society? And what's the difference to public schools in India? And if we work together, if you talk with public schools?
I think in some ways private schools give you a little more independence to make decisions, good, bad or ugly. I mean, that's not the thing. In public school systems, you are supported by the government. It's subsidized money. Then you're bound by their laws and you're bound by their guidelines. But I think in a private space, you have a little more agility and flexibility to decide something, to change something, etc. And I think for me that is very important. And then we didn't leave it as just a private school and doing innovation for the children who come to Riverside alone. The school has a responsibility to be larger than only the people who come to their own school. And then therefore the conversations like approach started. How do you include the children of the city? So how do you make a city child friendly? That started. Then Design for Change became a space of including the world as a story. So if something is working in your school and you know that's making a difference, we believe at least it's our responsibility to share it.
My mom asked how this freedom given to students doesn't become a mess. You know? Because I think that's a lot of teachers are afraid of it.
Yeah, it can. It can sometimes cross the line where we think that freedom is doing whatever I like. And I think here, if learning is meaningful and purposeful, then it's not doing what I like. It's can I do right by the opportunity I get. So at Riverside, I think the the focus has been, it's not just for you alone. The idea that I have something that adds value, not just for myself. There was a lovely quote, he says, alone you can go fast, but together you will go far. And I think that freedom we are telling is that. The story of freedom is not just I'll do whatever I like, but can I like what I do? Can I find meaning in what I do? And whenever I've seen that people find meaning, often it doesn't become me alone. It becomes something that I'm responsible for. So that responsibility and freedom are a wonderful combination.
Leonardo Tavares asked, on Brazil, education doesn't invest on art. We almost doesn't have like music disciplines, acting disciplines, we almost doesn't have. So what do you think the society loses it?
I think, this is such a common sense that we are creative human beings. We're born creative. I think if you see a child, the child's natural instinct is to create and to draw and to move their hands and to explore. And I think that creative instinct, I don't even call it a creative skill, it's an instinct. We're naturally born to explore. And we explore the world through our senses. And that's the beauty of the creative arts. I think it heightens and makes the senses breathe. And when your senses breathe, your body breathes. And with that you have the entire experience of life. That's why it's so important. And I find that as we grow older, we reduce that. We keep saying that that's not important. And I keep saying that you are only as much as how open your senses are. If we start blocking them because we're scared or we want approval or society doesn't like it or whatever, we will reduce ways to enjoy life and appreciate life. And I think the arts are a way of being alive and appreciating life.
Which message will you give to people in Brazil that are unsettled with traditional education?
I think what I'll advise is, in whatever space you are walking into, whatever space, whether it is in any human endeavor, whether it is the sciences, the arts, being a magician, being whatever in the world. People say, yes, you must find meaning. Yes, you start with that. But I think what I have learned is stamina. What is happening, and I'm seeing this more and more, is that we stay very short in a place. We have a very short engagement, 2 years maybe, and then we go on to something else and explore. While that's great for you or for the person who's exploring, it isn't very useful for the place you are walking into. Are we willing to give back? Because the giving back will take time. And we're not willing to give it that time. If there's a person in the school who wants to look at how can children find their passion, it will not happen overnight. So because we're not willing to give the time, we think, change doesn't happen. Change will not happen overnight. Change takes time. So we want to have change, but we're not willing to give change time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Então, gurizada, estou voltando agora para casa. A entrevista foi ótima, eu acho que vocês vão curtir a full. Ela respondeu a muitas dúvidas e questionamentos, deu conselhos. Então, acho que ficou bem legal. Muito obrigado aí por todo o apoio. Continue apoiando, por favor. Eu não consegui o desconto lá da Schumacher, então vai ser sim os 12 mil, quase 13 mil reais. Então preciso bastante do apoio e da ajuda. A sueca vai estar com as camisetas e ficou muito feia as camisetas. Se não tem a camiseta, continue apoiando, por favor.